Good morning. Welcome to Agape. If this is your first time, realize Agape is Greek. It's Greek for unconditional love. Martin Luther King said, the love of God operating through the human heart. And when we look at love at Agape, we look at it as the awareness and acceptance of your wholeness. It's that simple. It's not romantic. It's about the realization that you are whole and perfect just as you are. Here at Agape, we teach a practical spirituality, something you can use every day to create a meaningful and fulfilling life for yourself. Everything we do steeps on a couple principles. Number one, the principle is there's one, and each of us is a part of the one. It is in the recognition of that one through the process of meditation that we're able to connect with it. And secondly, it's to use the power of our mind, the power of our thoughts, aligned with our words, actions, and feelings that we create our life. Today, I'm following up my talk of last week, The Thing Itself, with the creative power of thought. So we're going to be exploring the power of how we think and how it impacts our life today. But before we do that, let's take a few moments and let's go within. So I invite you to come into a comfortable, seated upright position with your back straight, hands gently resting on your lap, eyes closed. Begin to consciously breathe into your heart, and then on the exhale, breathe out from your heart. Realizing that life is breathing life into you as life. Realizing that you are so much more than your body and your mind. Realizing that you have a body and you have a mind for you to use, to explore and to experience this magnificent thing of life today. Realize that while you may think your body and mind have limitations, that which is the observer, that which is the soul, that which is connected to the infinite, has no limitations. It can do anything. It can heal you right here, right now. It can bring abundance to you right here, right now. It can create perfect relationships for you right here, right now. The only thing that it asks of you is to believe. To know your oneness, to know your power, and to use it to create the atmosphere in which what you desire can demonstrate. So having opened our mind to new possibility, we become more ready to hear a message that expands our vision and our thought. And in that readiness, in that openness, in that new possibility, bring yourself back to this time, to this place, and to this day. So today, my talk is the creative power of thought. There are two basic principles from which the premise that all thought is creative comes from. The first premise is that there is a universal mind that is everywhere present. The second premise is that our thoughts create a mental atmosphere or mental equivalent that creates our experiences. And these are the leap of faith, especially the first one. The first one is there is one. There is a universal mind, consciousness. In every religion that's out there, there are leaps of faith. In what I believe is that the leap of faith that I have to make is that there's one. And I believe that to be true with all of my being. I believe there's one consciousness, one power, one presence that has created everything out of itself. It is infinite, it is undefinable. We talked about that last week. It is the thing itself. And being that there's just one, I know that I am one with that. I am the thing expressing individually and uniquely. And then the second premise is birth, because it creates, it uses the power of its thought to bring forth whatever it desires into its reality. Because I am an expression of it, my thought creates as well. So we're going to explore that a bit today. In the science of mind, we teach that the power of our thought is an extraordinary force, is the extraordinary force that shapes our reality. When you think about it, there are families in parts of the world that are living the very, very same life that they've lived for generations. Why? Because their thoughts, their mental atmosphere is still the same. It's not changed. I use my own life as an example. I was born and raised in Dearborn, Michigan. I was raised by, my mother was an Italian immigrant. My parents were Polish immigrants. And if I had just stayed there and done what they all did, after high school, got a job as a fireman or something like that, I would be living the same life as my mom and dad. But for whatever reason within me, I was driven to go to college. I've got a college degree in political science. I don't know what that did for me, other than it woke me up to there was an infinite possibility of greater than what I had. And so my thought process has changed. And so in 1979, as a part of my corporate world, I moved out of Michigan. I moved to Rhode Island. Then from Rhode Island, I moved to Tampa. Then from Tampa to Rhode Island. Then from Rhode Island to Dallas. And so my thought changed my experience. If I hadn't changed my thought, nothing would have changed. We believe in religious science that by consciously directing our thoughts, we embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation, thereby unlocking the limitless possibilities that lie within the realm of our minds. You see, it's not about positive thinking. This is where people get really confused. What is positive thinking? I don't know. For you, it might be one thing. For Susan, it might be something. For Jane, it might be something. For Bill, it might be something completely different. But I like the word directed thinking. When you consciously start to direct your thought, let's say toward health, you embark on a journey of self-discovery. You embark on a journey of what foods feel good to your body. What exercise allows your body to move freely in that? And when you start listening, you start creating a possibility beyond. My father and mother, my mother had breast cancer, died of it. My father had cardiovascular issues and dementia, died of that. All of these things became visibly known by medical science in their early ages. I have a different view of health. Even though I am their biological son, I do not suffer from the diseases and the heredity that they have, because I use my mind to build a healthy, vibrant body that allows me to do the work I love. I also understand that the stress in my parents' life caused their immune system to weaken. I observed it. I watched it. That's why I meditate twice a day, to relieve the stress. I realized that the possibility of not having the experience of my parents was available to me. But in order for me to get that new experience, I had to change. I had to direct my thoughts, my words, my actions, and my feelings toward a positive body, health, and well-being life. And it's not that I direct it there once. I direct it there and I constantly live it over and over and over again. In other words, I am persistent and consistent with where I direct my thoughts. Ernest Holmes, who wrote The Science of Mind, says that all thought is creative according to the nature, impulse, emotion, and conviction behind the thought. So I think that's a beautiful way of saying it's not just what you think. It's what's behind what you think. What is the nature? Is the impulse for more life? Is the emotion for it? Is it juice? Does it have that thing? Yes, I want it. Most people say they want something. They commit to it. And like a New Year's resolution of going to the gym, a month and a half in, they're no longer going. There's no reason behind it. The emotion is the reason behind doing something. And when you have a big reason behind it, you have a conviction. When you have a conviction, you stick with it. There's something about a discipline that works. A discipline of thought, a discipline of how we speak, a discipline of how we act, a discipline in how we feel. And guess what? You choose all of those. Or you choose none of them. Our innate freedom comes from our ability to freely work with nature's forces and laws to create a life experience that we choose. This creation, because it is a law, happens either consciously or unconsciously. Here's the key thing. Unconsciously, if you fear cancer and you keep fearing it and there's big emotion behind it and you hold that there, the law will create cancer. If you hold a vision of a healthy, vibrant body with no fear, and you're living according to what you believe is the best, healthiest life, and you do it even unconsciously, the law will respond to you. But what I know is that I'm a conscious creator. I get to choose where I put my focus. I get to choose the words I speak. I get to choose the actions I take aligned with my words, aligned with my thoughts. And I get to choose the feelings I put behind them. And when I choose all four of my thoughts, words, actions, and feelings, and I hold it persistently and consistently, I build the deepest belief. And when I build that belief, the demonstration in my life is assured. To the law, there's no such thing as a positive and a negative. It responds to consistently held directive thinking. Consistently held directed thinking. That's what a belief is. It doesn't care if you consistently hold it consciously or unconsciously. In fact, it has to be both. That's why I'm a real proponent of building habits of thinking. Are your habits always about expansion, about more health, more wealth, more deeper and profound relationships, being of service in the world, expanding your ability to be the presence of love in the world today? You see, the law does not just work through specific people, but rather through all people based on their awareness and how they use the law. Jesus said this. He said, "This I do and you can do and more." He clearly told us that we have the same power available to us that he had. We have the same power. He came and he gave us the whole idea. It is done unto you as you believe, the secret. He says, it is not I, but the Father. In other words, it's the infinite within us that's doing it. All we're doing is tapping into that infinite. A lot of how Jesus taught was through allegories, through examples. We don't use that as much now, at least for me. I like to be very direct. Your directed thought, words, actions, and feelings, held persistently and consistently, consciously and unconsciously, create your experience. It's that simple. When we align our consciousness, our directed thought, with the creative force of the thing itself, the infinite, we become co-creators of our reality. Our thoughts are not merely passive reflections, but active agents shaping the world around us. That's the beauty of it. When we really get that we create our experience, that we create our life using this infinite power, this infinite creative force, we don't allow passive thoughts to the best of our ability because we understand they'll reflect in our life. We want to consciously choose and be continually choosing expansive, loving, creative thoughts. The only way to know the creative power of thought is for you is to prove it to yourself. Otherwise, there's no benefit to having this knowledge. This is where most people fall in the pursuit of a spiritually driven life and being a conscious creator. They get the information, but they don't test it to prove it for themselves. The proof is always through testing it yourself. And you can do it in every aspect of life. I'm continually testing it. Continually. And I also know that I'm continually giving a greater challenge to test it in. It is through knowing our oneness with infinite mind and that its mind is our mind that any fears or feelings of unworthiness fall away when we embrace our birthright as creators. Do you get that? When you know your oneness with the infinite mind, with the thing itself, there's no fear. That's the beauty of deep meditation. When you're deep in meditation, fear dissolves because everything else dissolves and you merge into oneness for whatever that period might be. It may be a second or two, but it's a feeling that is undescribable. It is that state of perfect balance where everything exists all at the same time and there is absolutely no judgment. You are in the quantum field and you are not judging. And when you're there, there is no fear. There's just infinite possibilities and you can embrace whatever ones you choose. So there is a creative power and it responds to the nature of your thought. The key thing to remember is nothing changes until you change. Until you change your thoughts, until you change your words, until you change your feelings, until you change your actions, and you hold that change. Until you do that, nothing changes. But when you do, everything changes, and you discover you are the creator of your life. I want to thank you for taking time to be with me today. Know that we at Agape would love for you to plug in. We do morning meditations every day at 7 a.m. I do a talk every day for 5 or 6 minutes at 7:30 in the morning. We have gatherings on Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening for everyone. We do classes. We've got so many things. Just go to agapespiritualcenter.com and subscribe to my daily thought or my newsletter. And in doing so, you'll be brought up to date with all of the great things we offer. Go to my YouTube channel, Rev Lee. There are over 2,000 videos. There's probably about 25 guided meditations, all of it there to serve you. And if you like this message, share it. If you really like this message, you got something out of it, make a donation. Because when you receive, it's natural to give. And when you give, we take that donation and we make this message available to many, many, many more people. So I want you to know I'm grateful for you because without you, I couldn't do what I love. And that is to talk about life and how we can be empowered in it. With that, my beautiful ones, you're magnificent just as you are. Accept that as your truth and start creating your perfect life and make it a great one. Much love and aloha.